October 14th, 1943. 291 American B-17 bombers cross into Germany in broad daylight. Their target? The ball-bearing factories at Schweinfurt, the joints of the Nazi war machine. No bearings, no engines, no tanks, no planes, no war. The logic is clean. The execution is a massacre. Over 300 Luftwaffe fighters hit them before they even reach the target. Then the flak opens up, a black storm cloud that doesn't move, doesn't dissipate, and detonates at exactly the altitude where the bombers fly. By the time the survivors limp back to England, 77 B-17 are gone. 600 men. And the factories? Still standing. Still running. The most costly air raid in American history, and it didn't even work. That's the world we're dropping one aircraft into today. Not a squadron. One plane, one pilot, one F-35A, Lightning II, the most advanced combat aircraft ever built, placed in the skies over 1943 Germany with a full weapons load and absolutely no backup coming. The question isn't whether it survives. The question is whether the deadliest air defense network ever built by human hands has a single answer for what just appeared in its airspace. And what happens when the mission becomes Schweinfurt. Let's go find out. The biggest mistake in this scenario is assuming 1943 Germany is just guys with binoculars and old guns. It isn't. Layer 1. Fighters. 1,800 single-engine Luftwaffe fighters on the Western Front. The FW-190 genuinely shocked the RAF. Faster than the Spitfire, meaner in a dive. The Bf-109G carries a cannon that destroys a heavy bomber with one burst. These pilots aren't beginners. Some have over 100 aerial kills. By any fair measure, the best German fighter pilots of this era are among the finest aviators who ever lived. Layer 2. Flak. Over 55,000 anti-aircraft guns. The feared 88mm fires a shell at 820 meters per second and reaches 10,500 meters altitude. 6 to 8 guns fire in coordinated salvos, filling a volume of sky with shrapnel. Any single burst has a 1 in 1,000 chance of killing a bomber, but they don't fire one at a time. They fire in overlapping waves until probability stops feeling like probability and starts feeling like inevitability. Layer 3. Radar. The Kammhuber line. Overlapping stations from Denmark to France. Tracks formations and vectors night fighters to intercept. Ground controllers coordinate everything on plotting tables in real time. Fighters and flak as one unified system. This isn't primitive. This is a machine. A very large, very practiced, very lethal machine. Now let's talk about why it's about to have the worst day of its existence. The F-35A cost $400 billion to develop. Calling it a fighter jet is like calling a smartphone a calculator. Technically accurate, completely missing the point. Stealth first. The F-35's radar signature is 0.001 square meters. A B-17 shows up at 100. A regular modern fighter at around 5. The F-35 reads like a large bird. Against 1943 radar systems already struggling to separate aircraft inside large formations, it wouldn't be a blip. It would be a ghost, the kind of return operators log as equipment malfunction and go back to their coffee. Altitude, 15,240 meters, 50,000 feet. The Bf-109 tops out around 12,000 on a good day. The 88mm flak gun maxes out at 10,500. The F-35 at cruise altitude is above every single weapon in the German inventory. Untouchable isn't a figure of speech here, it's just accurate. Speed. Mach 1.6, nearly 2,000 kilometers per hour. The fastest German fighter tops out around 685. If the F-35 runs, nothing chases it. A Luftwaffe pilot would watch a contrail appear and disappear before processing what he'd seen. But the real weapon is what the pilot can see. The radar tracks hundreds of targets past 150 kilometers. 6 infrared cameras feed a 360-degree image directly into the helmet. The pilot literally sees through the floor of the aircraft. Total darkness means nothing, and 1943 Germany has 0 radar warning systems, 0 missile detectors, 0 way to know it's being watched. Weapons: 2 radar-guided air-to-air missiles with 100-kilometer range, Two GPS-guided 2,000-pound bombs accurate to within 1 meter of their target, from 15 kilometers up in any weather, against targets the pilot never needs to see directly. 1 meter, 15 kilometers. Think about that. 4:47, moonless October morning. Captain Reeves, he deserves a name, crosses the German border at 14,000 meters, cruising at Mach 0.9. Above the flak ceiling, 3 times faster than anything Germany can scramble. At 4:52, a radar operator outside Cologne catches something odd. A return. Too small, too fast, flickering in and out. He stares. It disappears. He logs it as a possible atmospheric anomaly. His supervisor looks at the screen for 30 seconds. Nothing there. Below, 200 flak guns point at the sky. Not one fires. The F-35's signature registers as background noise, filtered out automatically because that's what operators have been trained to do with clutter like this. Captain Reeves is 180 kilometers inside Germany. Nobody knows he's there. In 40 minutes, his sensors map more intelligence on German military positions than 3 years of Allied reconnaissance photography. Individual vehicles. Camouflaged fuel depots identified by thermal shadow. Heat signatures of recently fired artillery. All logged, all precise, all useless. Because there's no one in 1943 to send it to. A better operator outside Frankfurt catches a ghost return at 5:31, calls it up the chain. The duty controller plots the track and frowns. An aircraft at 14,000 meters doing over 1,000 kilometers per hour. Impossible. He marks it inconclusive and scrambles 2 Bf-109s. They climb hard. Captain Reeves watches them, 2 heat signatures crawling upward 4,000 meters below him, like lit matches in a dark room. They hit their ceiling. They see nothing. The F-35 watches them from above, then turns southeast, toward Schweinfurt. 2 bombs. That's all this takes. Captain Reeves programs GPS coordinates for the 2 main production halls of the ball bearing plant, confirmed by reading the heat signature of running machinery from 14,000 meters in the dark. He designates both targets, opens the weapons bay. The doors are open for 4.2 seconds. That brief moment is the only time all night the F-35's radar signature spikes. 1 Würzburg radar station catches it. 2 seconds, then gone. The controller plots it. For the first time, the German air defense network has something resembling a real contact. The bombs fall for 47 seconds. They travel 14 kilometers horizontally while dropping vertically, GPS fins adjusting constantly. Both hit within 0.8 meters of their aim points. The 2 main production halls cease to exist in 4 seconds. Then 800 guns open up, firing at 14,000 meters, at a point in space where an aircraft was 40 seconds ago. The sky fills with smoke and detonations. Spectacular. Expensive. Completely useless. Captain Reeves watches it on his rear cameras from 15 kilometers away, already accelerating. 40 seconds. That's how long Schweinfurt took. Here's where the story changes tone. Captain Reeves has roughly 90 minutes of fuel left. There is no tanker, no friendly airfield, no base in 1943 with the right fuel, the right equipment, or any part of the 21st century support infrastructure the F-35 was built to depend on. He is, in practical terms, a very fast clock that's running down. He destroyed Schweinfurt brilliantly in a way 291 bombers and 2,900 men couldn't manage. But the German war machine doesn't collapse because 2 buildings are gone. Production disperses. Factories rebuild. The intelligence he collected flies around in his data recorders with nowhere to go because no one in 1943 can receive it. 1 aircraft cannot replace an air campaign. It can do one thing brilliantly and then face the arithmetic of fuel, ammunition, and the absence of anyone who can help. Meanwhile, the Germans adapt. Kammhuber orders every radar-equipped night fighter to altitudes between 8,000 and 12,000 meters along the egress route. A wall, waiting in case the aircraft descends. Flak battalions are ordered to run barrage fire across the likely exit path. In the Cologne radar room, a duty controller named Hans Bruckner, physics teacher before the war, pulls out a slide rule and starts calculating. If the radar cross-section is that small, the aircraft might be shaping itself to redirect radar energy. And if it's that fast, it must be a jet. Jets have a thermal signature. He orders searchlights to sweep at maximum elevation. He won't find it. But he's asking the right question. A man with a slide rule in 1943, 80 years ahead of his time. 7:12. Captain Reeves descends to 10,000 meters. He's been watching German fighters orbit below him for 2 hours. Time to finish this. The lead Ju-88 crew picks up a radar return unlike anything they've seen. Flickering, impossibly fast. The pilot breaks radio silence. Contact. Single aircraft. Speed. Heck, it's moving too fast. His wingman searches the gray dawn light. Nothing there. The radar says directly ahead. His eyes say empty sky. The AIM-120 leaves the bay at 95 kilometers range. No warning system, no alarm, no way to know. The missile finds the Ju-88 at 15 kilometers and detonates. It goes down. Below, Bf-109s see the flash and climb hard. They reach 10,000 meters. Captain Reeves is already 60 kilometers away. They cannot chase him. They can only watch a contrail, thin, high, moving at a speed that has no word for it in any 1943 language. Fade west. Captain Reeves crosses the German border at 7:34. 40 minutes of fuel left. One missile he never needed. Behind him, 1,800 fighters, 55,000 guns, the Kamm-Huber line, Hans Bruckner, and his slide rule. Not one piece of German metal came near his aircraft. He ditches in the North Sea at 8:01 when the gauges hit zero. The war goes on. Here's the only number that matters. October 14th, 1943. 77 bombers, 600 men. Factory still running. The most costly American air operation of the war, and it didn't finish the job. One F-35. One pilot, 2 bombs. 0 casualties. Job done in 40 seconds. The German air defense network, the one that averaged 200 Allied aircraft destroyed every single month through 1943, never got a confirmed track on the aircraft that just beat it. Hans Bruckner suspected something was wrong with his assumptions. He was right. It didn't help him. The radar operators weren't incompetent. The fighter pilots weren't cowards. The flak crews weren't undertrained. They were all at the absolute edge of what their civilization could do. Every single one of them excellent at their jobs. None of it mattered. Not against this. But here's what stays with you. The war doesn't end. The Wehrmacht doesn't surrender. Schweinfurt is a wound, not a killing blow. And Captain Reeves is floating in the North Sea, waiting for a rescue that won't come for 82 years. Maximum lethality. Perfect execution. And still, one plane is never enough to change a war alone. That's the real answer. Not can the F-35 survive Nazi Germany's air defenses. It can effortlessly, completely without a scratch. The real answer is what survival means when you're alone, out of fuel, and the war is still happening beneath you. The future showed up over Germany in 1943. Faster, smarter, more lethal than anything the present could touch. It just couldn't stay.